Now that you got those three out, you're gonna just tug on it and it should come off. You may have to tug a little harder than I did, but it comes right off. Now after all that, you're gonna be pretty much ready to tackle the motor. What you're gonna do is remove these bolts from the motor mounts in the head right here. What I do is I take this entire thing off. It just makes life a whole lot easier. Take this 1, 2, 3 bolts. On most 2-stroke, this is how the head is mounted. And then you're gonna have one mount right here in the front. You're gonna have one under here, and also the swing arm pivot bolt right here. This is usually the harder bolt to take off, so what I do is take the swing arm bolt off first. The swing arm pivot bolt is a 22 millimeter bolt. I like to use extensions on tougher bolts because it just gives you a little more leverage. You don't have to though. This one actually came off fairly easy compared to how tight everything else is. Alright. Got that off. And now your next step is going to be to push this off with a punch and a hammer. It's going to come off on this side. Got the hammer. And since I don't have a punch, what I'm going to use, I might have a punch. Let's see. Nope. I'm going to use this extension as a punch. I'm going to go ahead and break the other bolts loose first. You're going to have one on this side, well, a nut on that side, and you're going to have a bolt on this side. If you turn one side, sometimes when you're taking it off, the other side will just spin, so you got to use a ratchet on both sides. And I just reach around with my hand on the other side and pull this, and normally they come right off. I'm just breaking it loose right now so I can get that swing arm bolt out. Alright. And what this does is allow the motor to move a little bit. That way when I'm shaking and pushing and beating this pivot bolt, the motor will flex and move the bolt more so I can get it off. There we go. Alright, to keep from mushrooming this pivot bolt, I'm gonna put the bolt back on, and don't tighten it down. Just get it flush with the end of it. That way you won't mushroom it. And then I'm gonna put this over here and try this shit again. Well, like I got it moving a little bit. And when you're installing a pivot bolt, like a swing arm pivot bolt, grease the fuck out of it. If you don't grease anything else, like grease the hell out of that pivot bolt, because these things, they get seized up a lot, and some of them they're like nearly impossible to take off. I've seen people have to use a grinder and cut the tip off and all kind of other crazy shit. And you can see why I'm having such a hard time with this. This bolt got rust on it. probably don't have any grease on it. Well, ain't no probably, it don't have any grease on it, and it was probably seized up. Shit. Swing arm bolt looks like shit, but anyway, I'm gonna put this on right here. And if you're not gonna tear the bike all the way down after this and like remove the swing arm and get it down to like a bare frame, you want to keep this handy because after you take the motor out, you're gonna put this right back in. All right. Now we're gonna. And if you get the punch stuck or whatever you use as a punch in there stuck, you can lift the rear tire and that'll help get it out easier. All right, now I can go ahead and take all of these nuts and bolts off. It's pretty hot out here, y'all. I normally wouldn't even be doing this outside. I'm just doing it outside so y'all can see better. So y'all should appreciate clutch look. I'm trying to show y'all some shit. And this one is kind of hard to get, so I'm lifting and pulling and pushing, shifting the motor to all different type of ways as I try to pull. You can't see my other hand, but I'm pulling the bolt as I'm wiggling it. That one out. So that's two. Now the only one holding it in now is the top bolt. And don't forget to pull the spark plug boot off of the spark plug. I actually forgot that. And take the wires off. Unhook the wires. Going to I got that off. I like to put all this stuff back together and install all the bolts, just so you remember where you took everything from. Now that you got all the bolts out, this is the easy part actually. You're gonna grab the motor, you're gonna grab with your left hand on like the bottom close to the countershaft, and on the right side you're gonna grab it like towards where the water pump is. And as you lift it up, you're gonna lift and twist. I set my body on the frame, like on the subframe. That way I'm not hurting my back while I'm lifting. I'm just using my arms. And lift, turn, and twist. I can't remember how. Oh, okay, yeah. Turn this up like this. Clear this stuff. Alright. Lift. And just like that, got a motor out. And here you go. Got the motor removed. Simple. All right, guys, it's that simple. This took me probably 2 hours because I'm recording and I have to stop and start and set the camera up. But typically I can do this in like 45 minutes to an hour depending on what kind of bike I'm dealing with. sometimes faster than that. If this is your first time trying this, don't be too scared to try it. You know, a lot of people get intimidated when it comes to working on bikes, but I'm more comfortable now than I was when I first started. This isn't really a hard process. So if you're trying on 2-stroke, 4-stroke, 4-wheeler, dirt bike, it doesn't really matter. If you watch this video, you should get a pretty solid idea of how to remove a motor. In the future here, I'll show you guys how to split the crankcases and break the motor down and inspect the transmission and all of that type of stuff. But until next week, see you.